with adulation and ironclad loyalty. Those days were behind him. He was more than a decade older than when he'd begun. He led a different life, he had a different crew. And yet still he instinctively moved swiftly and nearly soundlessly through the dark, his every sense on alert. He froze when he heard a muffled thump from a few feet away. It was the sound of something, or someone, falling to the ground in the narrow street up ahead. He flattened himself against the building wall. Pistol in hand, he inched soundlessly toward the alley, then peered around the corner. Very little surprised him anymore. But about 15 or so feet ahead of him, into the alley separating two buildings, a woman was lowering herself out of a second-story window on what appeared to be a braided bedsheet. On the cobblestones below her, he could just make out a small, dark, oblong shape, likely a valise or knapsack she'd thrown to the ground before her descent, the source of the thump. He decided to pause to take in the spectacle as though it were a puppet show. Her feet flailed a bit before she gingerly came to rest on the top of a stack of crates pushed up against the building wall. She was still a good 7 or 8 feet off the ground. And she'd run out of bedsheet. Lorcan wasn't quite certain what manner of escape he was watching, but he found himself rooting for her just the same. The wildness in his soul could not help but admire the wily people of the world, the ones who tried and got away with audacious things. He was disinclined to judge. No one knew better than he did what desperation could inspire even a saintly person to do. He possessed a moral code, after a fashion, but his first instinct was always to help. At least the first time. The moon and a rude gust of wind conspired to hurl her cloak and skirts upward and dropped them again, but not before revealing a pair of elegantly curved calves, wearing surprisingly good embroidered stockings. "I once gave a pair of stockings much like those to a mistress," he said idly. The woman flattened herself against the wall and froze. But her breath formed swift white puffs in the frigid air. One hand remained fisted around the sheet. The wind whipped the hood from her head. She yanked it back over her head with the other. He moved carefully closer. He could now hear her terrified breathing. "Madam," he mused, "it looks as though you're in a bit of a bind." Perhaps because this was self-evident, she didn't reply. "If what you've just tossed down is a satchel full of silver plate, you'd best hurry. I should hate for their rightful owners to awake and shoot you." Now he was having a little fun at her expense. "Why would I take silver plate?" Her voice was a shock. Low-pitched, exquisitely refined, every word as precise as a cut gem. It was like stumbling across a diamond necklace in the dirt. "Oh, lass," he said pityingly. "First day at thieving." "I'm not thieving." She actually sounded indignant. "Some blighter moved the barrel that I planned to—" "Blighter?" He was amused. "You'll never get to heaven using that sort of language." And then he became brisk. "I believe you're going to have to jump. And I'm going to have to catch you because the sound of human bones crunching against cobblestones puts me right off me feed." She said nothing. The only movement was the lashing of her cape about her ankles. It snapped like a sail in the wind. "My offer is not indefinite, madam. Jump or be caught stealing. It's all the same to me." Daphne finally risked a look over her shoulder. For a chilling moment she saw no human at all, only layer upon layer of shadows, all in various shades and textures of black. It was as though the night itself had been speaking to her. Fear seeped into her bones like an icy fog. And then, at last, her eyes were finally able to distinguish the outline of what appeared to be a very large man. Her slamming heart squeezed into an icy